Good evening and welcome to KiniNews. Although floodwaters have still not completely receded yet, the blame game has begun, especially right here in Selangor.
Jadi, saya nak kata kalau kuasa yang diberikan pada kerajaan negeri, itu pun Menteri Besar tak faham. Maka sebab itulah kita tengok pengurusan banjir peringkat negeri menjadi kelang kabut.
This was the response from Entrepreneur Development and Cooperative Minister Noh Omar to Selangor MP Amirudin Shari's statement on the flood situation. In his statement yesterday, Amirudin had said that he has resumed the task of State National Security Council, or NSC chief, and blamed the slow flood response in Selangor on the fact that he was not appointed to the post much earlier. However, Noh said that he is still the NSC chief and panned Amirudin for confusing between the two committees under the NSC. According to him, the post he is holding was in charge of state security and public order matters, and the one that is responsible for disaster management is another state committee parked under the National Disaster Management Agency and chaired by the Selangor State Secretary. Noh clarified that Amirudin is taking over the duties from the State Secretary. He added that he was shocked to read the statement, claiming that Amirudin could not call the police and military for a meeting, when the committee, under the State Secretary, already has security forces as its members. He also called on Amirudin to not blame him for the poor flood management in the state.
Jangan nak salahkan saya. Dia tunjukkan kepada saya lah tu sebenarnya. Sebab kerana saya jadi pengurusi MKM dan sebab itu dia tidak boleh bertindak. Dan sekarang ni, dia kata dia akan kembali menjadi pengurusi MKM menggantikan saya. Sebenarnya tak betul. Dia bukan gantikan saya masih lagi usia MKM jaga keselamatan.
Next, we are still on Noh Omar, by the way. The minister was in the limelight earlier today after a video went viral showing him getting complaints over the government's slow flood response.
Cabinet Minister Noh Omar visited a relief shelter in Hulu Langat, Selangor recently. However, not everyone welcomed his visit. A flood victim took the opportunity to complain to him over the government's slow response in rescuing victims trapped by the deadly disaster. In a video, which has since gone viral, a woman was recorded telling Noh about her experience of trying to seek help from the government when floodwater rapidly increased in Taman Sri Nanding and trapped the residents there, including her family.
Tiada satu pun agensi kerajaan yang datang menolong kami. Kenapa agensi kerajaan datang pada pagi yang pada masa air yang sedang turun? Pada masa keadaan kritikal, air dah sampai taraf, gunung rumah, tiada sebarang agensi kerajaan datang menolong.
The woman said that her family had been trapped from midnight until 4:30 a.m. and they had called every government agency. However, no action was taken during the critical time. She added that the only people who came to their rescue that early morning was a group of 3 Indonesians who took it upon themselves to paddle a small boat. Noh, who is the Entrepreneur Development and Cooperative Minister, was there to deliver aid to flood-stricken victims who were taking shelter in a temporary relief center in Hulu Langat.
A sluice gate that prevented floodwaters from receding in Taman Sri Muda has been repaired today according to the state government. Now, I think it's pronounced sluice. If I got it wrong, please let me know in the comments.
Selangor Menteri Besar Amirudin Shari said that the state government expects the flood at Taman Sri Muda in Shah Alam to recede much faster now. This came following reports yesterday night that a jammed sluice gate intended to control the flow of water into the nearest river had caused water to recede at a slower rate. In a post on Facebook, Amirudin said another generator from Tenaga Nasional Berhad was successfully taken to the gate and it is now operational again. He added that the Shah Alam City Council and armed forces worked hard up to 3 a.m. this morning to remove vehicles which were blocking the way. Yesterday, Selangor Infrastructure and Agriculture Committee Chairperson Izam Hashim had dismissed a viral social media post that questioned an alleged delay by managing authorities to open the gate. He denied that it was due to a lack of maintenance and said that it was from damages during the flood. According to Izam, during the flood, there were strong currents and the gate was hit with debris and logs, causing the shaft to be crooked.
Although Maidin's boss has forgiven those who broke into a branch of their supermarket for food in order to survive, that doesn't mean it's a free-for-all for anyone to loot whatever they want.
31 people were arrested following a break-in at a convenience store in Taman Sri Muda yesterday. Shah Alam Police Chief Baharudin said it comprised of 10 Indonesians, 7 Bangladeshis, 9 Nepalis, and 5 Myanmar nationals, and they will be investigated under Section 457 of the Penal Code. Baharudin added that the Shah Alam Police District Headquarters had initiated crime prevention measures in all the places affected by flood and advised the public not to break the law. He said police control posts have been set up in Taman Sri Muda in Section 25 and in Taman Kemuning Utama in Section 33. Yesterday, it was reported that several convenience stores or small supermarkets were looted in the area. According to witnesses, government-coordinated supplies only arrived 2 days after floodwaters rose to dangerous levels. This had caused many to go hungry, forcing them to take drastic action. Taman Sri Muda was one of the worst-hit neighborhoods following massive flooding in the Klang Valley over the weekend.
Coming up next, we've got a lot of qualms about the flooding, whether we're affected or not, and the opposition leader has decided that he's going to take some of it up with the government. See you after a word from our sponsors.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Welcome back. A lot of people are not happy with the government's response to floods, including opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim, who says that we need to address this all the way down to our protocols.
Opposition leader Noh Ibrahim said he was appalled that the government had failed in their duty to protect and help the people. This came following the government's slow response to last week's flooding that has displaced thousands. In a statement, he called on Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob to set up a royal commission of inquiry, as well as a parliamentary committee on improving and updating the country's response procedures to disasters. He added that in addition to providing aid, the government must assist the people in salvaging their homes and must also be transparent and accountable towards the public. He said the government should conduct a daily press conference to provide updates on the flood situation and rescue mission. Echoing other critics of the government's flood response, Anwar said the incident exposed Malaysia's lack of disaster preparedness. Anwar added that he was thankful to see the neighbourly spirit of the people shine brightest when their leaders and authorities had failed them, and offered his appreciation for all who have helped in providing aid to those victimized by the floods.
Having to deal with a pandemic of a mutating virus is already hard enough, but the Health Ministry is now having another concern, being that waterborne diseases could see a surge in spreading due to the floods.
The Health Ministry has expressed concern over the possibility of an increase in cases of waterborne diseases. This is following the ongoing floods in several states. According to Bernama, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmin Ghazali said floods could cause infectious diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, fever, dengue, and respiratory tract infections amongst others. He said that so far, there has been no reports on waterborne diseases and the situation is currently under control. He added that the MOH also had teams on the ground to test the water and food quality at relief centers to avoid food poisoning. He also encouraged those who wanted to contribute food to flood victims at flood relief centers to check the quality of the food and get approval first. In addition, he said the ministry was also concerned about the possibility of new COVID-19 clusters emerging in the flooded areas. Previously, it was reported that a total of 86 COVID-19 cases were detected among flood victims as of noon yesterday, bringing the total number of cases from flood victims to 267.
If you are planning to head to Singapore for the new year, then I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the vaccinated travel lane has been suspended until mid-January.
The Health Ministry has announced that sales of tickets for air and land travel under the vaccinated travel lane scheme with Singapore will be temporarily suspended from December 23rd until January 20th. In a post on Twitter today, Health Minister Amirudin said that this was due to the latest developments on the Omicron variant reported in Singapore. He added that those who have already bought their tickets can proceed with their journey. This came following a similar move by Singapore to freeze all new ticket sales over the same period. Under the vaccinated travel lane program, both Singapore and Malaysia allowed quarantine-free entry for fully vaccinated travelers who have to do multiple screenings. Previously, Malaysia had already banned the entry of travelers from countries that have reported the Omicron COVID-19 variant or are considered as high risk.
Well, that's a wrap for KiniNews this evening. For more stories, go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget to follow us on our social media, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook to get the latest news headlines. If you would like to support the independent media, please do consider a subscription to MalaysiaKini.com. If you're heading out, don't forget your mask, and unless your house is still flooded, please try to stay home. We've got two big problems facing us right now with COVID and the chance of waterborne diseases spreading. So try to stay home as much as possible to minimize infection. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas in advance. And as always, please stay safe, Malaysia.
Everyone wants to see these scenes bigger. That's why we've got bigger TVs for everyone to enjoy them bigger. Watch colors come to life on a large screen. LG NanoCell.